I think we can start now. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ram Manohar Rai, and I am co-founder of Antalk, and I'm also the program director at Antalk. We are going to have a very interesting session today with Anup Khopkar, who is very acclaimed cybersecurity professional. Welcome everyone again, to today's masterclass, which is brought to you by Antalk. So just give me some time. No, probably I want to introduce also you to Antwalk. So Antwalk is an educational platform which is started by some of us who are from IIT and IFB. But this program is this platform is actually driven by the professionals themselves, right? Our idea is to bring the real professional insights from people who are working in the industry, right? As a platform, we have hosted a lot of interviews, right? We have thousands of professionals who have come to our platform and share their experience, right? And we have very strong cybersecurity a channel also, where hundreds of cybersecurity professionals have come and they have discussed about their job, right? What exactly they do, right? And what kind of issues they face on a day-to-day basis. Probably that's a very good place, to start your cybersecurity research also. Right. So so don't forget to sign up on Antwalk after this session. Right. So continuing with our motto to bring professional insights from real professionals to public domain. We have also launched a master class. Right. We will discuss about this master class on cybersecurity that Antwalk has launched briefly in between for 5 to 10 minutes within the session. Right. And without any further delay, probably I would like to introduce you guys to our experts for today's masterclass, Anup Khopkar. Anup is very acclaimed professional in network security domain. He has 12 years plus of work experience and has worked with a very renowned company, Symantec, since 2030. Anup has a lot of world-class certification like CompTIA Linux Plus, LPIC1, CompTIA Security Plus, Symantec Certified Specialist, ITL Foundation in IT Service Management. Right. Anup is also one of our experts who are going to take part in the boot camp, and he in our boot camp he's teaching the network security. So welcome, Anup. Welcome to this master class. Please, screen is yours. I'm removing my presentation. Please share your screen.
Sure. Thank you, Ram. Thanks for the introduction. So welcome everyone to this masterclass. We're going to talk about very interesting topics today. And let me start with sharing my screen. All right, some ground rules. If you have any questions, we'll definitely try to answer them. Just post them into the chat. I'll just copy all of them together at the end, and I'll start answering them. I generally try to keep a flow of the training that I give, right? So some questions may come into your mind, and they may be answered in a later concept. So just hold on to those questions, and then at the end, you can definitely ask all those questions, and all the questions are welcome. You have any doubts about the presentation, about Antwork, you will be happy to answer you. All right, so just by show of hands, just tell me that if you're able to see the screen that I'm presenting. All right, perfect. All right, so this is our agenda for the day. Introduction of the speaker that Ram has already done. So we are going to talk about what is a network, what is network security actually means. I'm going to give you some examples about the network security breaches, and we are going to introduce you to a very important tool, which is Wireshark, which is widely used. It's basically a packet analyzer. There are other packet analyzers in the world, but the Wireshark is one of the most used and most loved application, as it's open source, and it keeps on developing to incorporate the way the network engineers are thinking. And then we are going to have a quick Q&A session where I'll try to answer most of your questions. If you are not able to get to the all the questions, we are just still going to document them and try to post them on our site or send out to you. All right. So yeah, as introduction goes, I have been working with Symantec. I'm very passionate about cybersecurity, especially on the network end. Came from a networking background. As you can see, have done some vendor agnostic certifications, which have helped me to complete my overall development. And I'll say that it's a completely learning process, and keep on learning a lot of things. Even with this, for doing some research for this masterclass, I had to do a lot of research, and that definitely adds a lot of value to my career, as well as I like to uh, teach a lot. I would like to explain very basic security concepts to people who don't understand them, or who are just interested to learn about them. So I'll be very happy to answer any questions if they come up, and I'll love to explain stuff on that. All right. So with that, so let's talk about what is a network, right, and what is the understanding of a network in a general sense, right? Okay, so a book definition of a network is a computer network is basically a group of computers who are using a common set of protocols over a digital interconnection, and purpose of sharing resources and I'll say data, resource, everything. So the way that we are connected over Zoom right now over the internet is basically we are part of a same network, so we are able to talk over the internet and share some data, right? So you'll find a lot of book definitions. So you Google it and you can find those. What I feel is like that's all great, right? The book definitions, but we are not here to learn about the book definitions in the computer industry. All the book definitions. There are so many acronyms. There are so many definitions that you can learn. What we want to know is how the stuff works in the real world. We want to know how the internet works, how we are going to have where we are going to see how the real world in the organizations or in your home network, how actually stuff works, and then it will be we will be able to be in a better position to be as a security engineers or network engineers to fix the problems first of all, and develop and make people's lives easier, right? Okay, so what does a network mean, right? So see, network is a very old term. It's not just related to computers. Before we had computer networks, we had railway networks, the road networks, so anything that connects 2 points, right? So local area network, that's a LAN that you're probably all your PCs will be connected to, and then it's going to have an output out gateway that's going to connect to the other networks, and the other networks connect to other networks, and that's how the internet is formed, right? So but this is also a network. It's connecting 2 points in a city, 2 points between cities, 2 points between nations as well. Two train stations connecting over a railway line is still a network. And this is the ideal network that we connect to. So the internet is nothing but a network of networks, right? So if you have maybe you're sitting somewhere here, and I am sitting somewhere over here. So we go through your this will be your Wi-Fi router. Maybe you're connected via your phone. So that acts as like a router between your network and the network of your ISP or your service provider, and then it connects to a bunch of networks, and ultimately connecting us over this internet. All right. So as I said, that it can be your phone network as well. So how does the internet look like, right? So this is the internet, right? We are part of this the whole tree, you can call, and we are just a node on this particular internet. Now this is continuously growing with thousands of millions of devices coming in. Manufactured daily, and we are connecting networks far and wide. We are developing this as a complete human society. We want to connect to each and every one in the world, right? So we are expanding this network at a rapid pace. In last 10-15 years, this has grown exponentially, right? So what are the topics that we are interested in, right? So what we are going to have achieve, what we want to achieve in network security, what we want to understand about network security. First is how a local network works, right? We have to start with a small network, and then we can just expand it, uh, connecting more networks and all. How do computers exchange data between them, right? That's the main question. How the internet works, right? How we are able to connect to the computers all over the world, right? Now, the main question is, why does it need protection? So, so for any kind of a problem that you are trying to solve, we need to understand why we are doing that, right? So, why you need to protect our network? What's in that network? So the next question is, okay, now we know why we need to protect it. It's main about the privacy. We don't want some of our data to be used by someone else. We don't want, for example, your bank passwords, or maybe your network, you're working in a company and you don't want other companies to peek into what you're doing and have a competitive advantages, something kind on those grounds. So the why can be different for different people. So you need to understand the why of your own network, and you need to understand the why of your organization. So how the next question is, okay, now we know why to protect it. So the next question would be how we are going to protect it, and why it needs a complete monitoring, right? Just if we are protecting it, then why it requires a constant monitoring. And you may have heard about a lot of jobs where there are analysts, network security analyst, computer analyst, security analyst, uh, a whole bunch of terms. Now, what actually these analysts are doing? They are actually monitoring the network, which is protected, so that if we find any gaps in our protection suite, or the way we are protecting it, we can come and fix it. The next question is, why the security domain has become so important. As evident, like many of you have got a curiosity of what's in the security domain, and you might have heard that, yeah, security domain is one of the highest paying domains. And you might have heard terms like that security domain is in a boom. Every company is getting is hiring security professionals. There is a lot of investments going on. There are a lot of policy changes which are happening on the government level, which are related to the security domain. And that's where this particular domain is, in newer terms, is hot right now. Okay, so one of the questions that the security experts, or you if you try to find out on the internet, you'll find is that security experts say that there is a skill gap in a security domain. Now, why is that? The reason is, let's understand why the gap is there, right? Most of the organizations keep the security responsibilities with the administrators. Administrators are great guys. I've been an administrator at one point of time. The work of the administrator is keep things running smoothly. Now, to keep running things smoothly, he may compromise on certain security details that he should take care of, right? Or he or she is going to do that, right? And that's where this term came up, like when the organization who was not very serious about the security gets hit by some kind of attack, most likely a ransomware. Their whole data gets wiped out, and then they said that, oh, nee, we need to put in some security measures so that this particular thing doesn't happen, and our business uh, is not going to get impacted. And so that's where they start to hire people. And now if their administrator says that I was doing everything that I was supposed to do, I had implemented an antivirus software, and I had a firewall, that basically, depending upon the budget, how that good that firewall was, but he had some basics, right? But still, the company got hit. Now, in that case, what happens is, the the person who is the owner of the company or who is in a higher position will start to think about security. Now it's all it has sadly it has been a reactive thing, and many companies still don't have a proper cyber security program. They don't have experts who can actually work on the products and who understand the security domain. So that's where the term that the cyber security gap is mentioned. If you want to see the numbers, you can Google them. There is a huge gap in India. There's going to be a lot of requirement for cybersecurity in different domains, and across the world, it's going to be the demand is going to be more as well. The other thing that we want to know is if you want to work in network security, let's say you understood the gap, you understand there is a security, there is a need, and you know how why it needs to be protected, but you need to master some skills to get into this domain, right? And it's going to be a challenge if you are if you are not
Hello, Anup. We have lost your voice, Anup. I think Anup is having some network issues. Uh, yep. I think Anup is having some network issues. Just be here for a few seconds, guys. I'll just check with him. Oh, this is the problem of online world, right? How much ever we try, these things keep on coming. Sorry for the inconvenience, guys. I'll just check with Anup, sir. When can we expect him back?
I guess I had a network interruption. uh, Ram, can you please make me the host again?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Good that your name starts with A, so you are at the top of the list. Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
All right. So let me share the screen again. All right. So I think I got lost around the point number 7. Okay. So what we are talking about is the skills that we will be need to master to get into this particular domain and have a cyber security. So even if you are an administrator, right, you need to master some skills that will help you to have the uh, I'll say the knowledge that is required to make your organization secure. Now, the bonus question is going to be like, if you're not working or you're working in some other domain, you want to get into a job of cybersecurity. Now, what can be your first job in a network security domain? It's going to be most likely a network security analyst, right? And if you can search on Indeed or LinkedIn or maybe your favorite job sites, you'll find there are a lot of openings with the word security analyst in it. So it's going to be cyber security analyst, network security analyst, computer security analyst, or just security analyst. Now, if you go and see the duties and the responsibilities, it's going to be more about see, on the day one, you're not going to get a full access to the company's corporate firewall or the company's main servers. So it's going to be more about the monitoring kind of a role. It's going to be more about uh, a, a role where you will be told to do certain activities, and you'll be expected to know about a lot of things, right? Even if your role is limited, but your understanding about the cybersecurity domain needs to be pretty wide. Now that's where the entry barrier in this industry comes in, right? Because the organizations can get attacked from anywhere. Now if so okay, so can you move mute? All right.
You may be in a situation all the values. Okay, so you can mention it as
Guys,
a word
please
equal
mute yourself. I think somebody. The, well,
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, so it's going to be more about the knowledge, and it's not going to be like a very in-depth knowledge that is going to be expected in your first interview, but you should be able to know a lot of concepts, like how is a certain thing done, and what type of breaches that happen, and what are the best ways to protect it. A interviewer like me is going to question you about, let's say, I'm not going to say you how you're going to make a rule in let's say a certain firewall. That's not going to be a question because you don't have that exposure. But I will have you in a question where I say that I want to let's say restrict some access with my firewall. What type of rules can be created in that, right? And how would you go about thinking about these rules to be created? I don't want the commands, I don't want the execution part. That is something depends upon those products. And believe me, there are millions of different products, and everyone thinks that their way is different and their way is best. But the concepts, the key concepts about these products are going to remain same. So what we are trying to achieve is we are going to we are going to talk about the key concepts, and based on that you can create a wide knowledge, and that knowledge you can take it forward and then master one of those domains, or as Andrew calls it as islands. All right. So as now we have got a start here, let's have a quick poll to understand like what you think about a certain topic. All right. So it's a quick poll. Just think about this. If you are coming from a networking background, you will see something that is familiar here. If you're not, you can still take a best guess and try to see how your answer matches with others. All right.
as expected, Arup, I think the poll is going in a way where I think we generally fail, right? People don't understand the nuances, and this is being also reflected in this poll. I'll share probably I will keep it open for next 30 seconds,
Yeah,
and
sure. We
then
got 60%. Let's get to 80. I love the 80-20 rule. So let's hope to get to the 80. We have 100 participants. Let's get to 80.
yep.
All right, guys, we are nearly there.
Yep.
Few more. There we go.
Great. So I'm closing the polling now, right? So I'm sharing the results also, Anup.
Mhm. Yep. So as we can see, most say on the network layer. Yeah, it's a good answer. I'll tell you what is the most vulnerable layer in this. It's the user, and I think 11 people or 13% of them have got it right. Now, why I'm saying that, right? Uh, See, you can have a lot of technologies in all these layers, right? But the people who are managing these technologies, people who are using these technologies, people who are putting the trust in these technologies, right? Those people need to understand what they're getting into. Companies like large companies spend billions of dollars in a lot of these layers to secure each of them. Network is somewhere is heavily invested. Application layer is heavily invested. Physical layer is something that you have you can talk about a lot of things about physical layer as well. But unless you have a knowledgeable person, a knowledgeable security engineer, administrator, a data user who is responsible for that particular data, is if you're not able to secure that element, none of your technologies are going to be helpful, because human mind is very sharp. And you can, if you put in controls for all these layers, they are still going to find out a way if uh, to get out of this, right? And a lot of times it's the lack of knowledge. Sometimes people do it unknowingly, people do it knowingly, and we definitely see a lot of breaches that happen just because someone was supposed to do something, and they did not understand, or they did not have that uh, commitment to complete that particular task. All right, so let's get back to our PPT. All right, so let's go start with. I hope I'm sharing. Okay, so let's start with network protocols. As I said, to for two computer devices to talk to each other, they need to have a common protocol. Now, what is a common protocol? Protocol. Let's understand what is a protocol first. Protocol is a method, right? Let's say we are talking in English, right? So that English has a certain way of figure of speech. There are certain words, the way we are describing it, we are talking about it, and those words are understood by you. Now, we can call this as a common language, right? So when a computer needs to talk to another computer, they need to talk to in the same language. So one computer cannot be sending random data and expect the other computer to make sense of it, right? So need the other computer also needs to follow the same set of rules of that language, and based on that they are going to talk to each other. Now I'm going to break this down in a very layman's term, right? You can go in a lot of technology and to go very deep into it, but let's talk about this in a more of a layman's term, right? So there are two protocols which basically run the internet today, right? The way we are talking to each other, we are talking over the same protocol. This is the heart of the internet, and this is how your computer is going to talk to your router is going to talk to the next router, and they are going to connect to another host. So the two protocols are transmission control protocol, and that it has one job, and that it does very well. That is making sure the data goes from point A to point B, right? In this case, it's going from point A to multiple people here, right? So that's how that's its job, and it does it very well. It's doing it for almost last 42 years, right? The next protocol is the internet protocol, which basically makes sure that the data is going to the right places. It's not we are not sending data to someone that we don't intend to. Now, this is how the data flows. So you have we are talking on a Zoom application. So that's your application layer, where we are going to have a process which is zoom.exe in this case, talking to zoom.exe on your computer, right? So that's how the data is flowing. Now, if you think of an email application, when I'm sending an email, let's say I'm using an Outlook, or I'm using let's say a web mail, I'm using an email application that is sending a data from point A to point B. Now, transport layer, or the transport mechanism, is between the host to host, right? So from my computer, it's a host, your computer is another host. So we are talking over the internet. The communication is over host to host, right? The next layer is about the internet. So where we are connecting over this internet, and we are going through all the IP addresses, and we are trying to connect to each other. The last layer is the link itself. Now I'm using a wireless router. My computer is connected to a wireless router. So I'm using basically a wireless Ethernet. or a wireless network here, right? You may have you may be connected over a phone, and that's again your computer is using another channel. If you have a broadband at home, you might be connected over fiber. If you are sitting in some remote place, you may be connected over satellite as well. So this is how network data flow happens, and TCP/IP is the heart of the internet. It is the way the internet talks to each other. Okay, so we're not going to go into much of a theory. We'll talk about practical things. Now, there are other protocols who work with or on top of the TCP/IP stack or TCP/IP protocol. Uh, we use HTTP for the web pages. So when you go to Google, when you go to your favorite websites, you are actually using an HTTP protocol to talk over this particular to get those pages. Now, the SMTP is an interesting protocol which is used for email transfer, right? What we are talking over right now is the protocol that we are using is voice over internet. Another popular protocol is FTP. It's not it's becoming absolute because of a lot of security problems in it, but yeah, it's still a very reliable way of transferring huge data from point A to point B. There are other protocols which actually work in the background that have different functionalities, and you don't need to master the technical details of each of these protocols, but you need to understand what is the purpose of these protocols. And maybe this is going to be a quick exercise for you once the session is going out. You can try to find out what type of protocols run the internet. And Wikipedia is the best place to start. It has a very decent amount of information, and then when you become interested in one of those protocols, you can definitely Google that and try to find out more about it. All right. So now, as we were talking about how the internet works, right? So let's talk about what happens when you go to the internet, right? So you start with enabling your Wi-Fi, your mobile data, or you connect your cables to your internet service provider's modem, right? Okay, so what your computer does in that case. So a computer uses a protocol called DHCP. This is dynamic host configuration protocol to get a valid IP address and a path to all the networks, right? I am saying all the networks. So the IP address is basically a unique number that is your computer is going to get assigned. Think of it as a phone number, but on a very large scale. Now, for your IP address to communicate to other IP address, it needs to know the path to the internet or to other networks, right? So it's going to, using this DHCP protocol, your computer is going to get those two things. All right, next you open up your favorite browser and you type in http example.com or just example.com. Now, what your computer is going to do is going to use a protocol called DNS. That's your domain name service or domain name protocol, which is going to get an IP address of example.com. Now, if you go to the basics of computers are basically binary machines. They only understand the numbers, right? So when you're putting example.com, it actually doesn't know what where to go. So what it needs to do is find out the IP address and where that particular example.com is located on this vast internet. Now, how it's going to do that is going to use a DNS service to get an IP address. Once it gets an IP address, it's going to going to use the internet protocol and the TCP protocol to connect to this particular example.com's web server, which is located somewhere which is not your local network. So that's why in the first step, we need to know the path to all the networks, right? So going forward, let's say you are going to your bank's website, right? So example.com is just a test site. You want to, let's say, do a banking transaction. Now, what your computer is going to do is going to use the DNS protocol to get an IP address, and that's going to make use the HTTP protocol again to get the web page. Now, the bank says that the HTTP protocol is not secure because it's plain text, and I'll show you how it's plain text. It has been plain text when it was conceptualized, and it has been plain text since there. So what they're going to say is that let's use HTTPS instead of HTTP. Now HTTPS is going to be another layer of security that's going to be added to make the HTTP protocol secure. So the underlying pages are still in HTTP. The language that was used mainly was HTML, and then it has evolved to PHP, and there are a lot of different languages that web pages come to nowadays. But end of the day, they need to follow the protocol rules, and they are going to get transferred over HTTP anyway. So we are going to use something called a TLS or SSL protocol to secure this connection. Now, the TLS protocol and SSL protocol are the key to security on the internet. So when when you are going to an internet site, you may see that this particular site is secure. Your browser tells you on the top where it's a kind of a padlock icon there, and in Internet Explorer it just shows you that this particular site is secure. Now, how is it secure? It is secure by using this particular HTTPS protocol, right? Okay. Now we are talking about security. Now, first question comes into mind: why we need to protect the data, right? And now we understand there will be, as I said, everyone's why would be different, right? So think about what is the why for you. Why we want to keep your data or your company's data private, right? You want to keep it secure, right? So this particular concept, right, is going to be called henceforth, or it's going to be in the security world, this particular concept of keeping the data private, or keeping it to the people who need to have the access to this data, is called confidentiality. Okay, so remember this particular concept. Now, uh, let's take another example. So you go to your bank's website, and then you log into it, and you find that the couple of zeros are missing from your bank account's details, from your balance, right? You have not made any transactions out, but still those two zeros are missing, and it can be a huge loss to someone. Or maybe you have your bank account is full, and you have five zeros missing. All right, so that means that the correct information is not displayed over there, and maybe it's just not displayed. Someone may have already stolen the data from your from your bank account. But let's stick to a concept where we are saying that it's not showing you the right information. Now, in the security world, this is called integrity, right? And you don't it's just not about the bank details. Let's say you are running a website, and you find out that the information about your company is been changed, and some competitor has just defaced your website. Or on a more personal level, let's say you have your Facebook page, right? For example, everyone has a Facebook page, and you find out the information about you is being changed, right? Someone has changed that information, and they have put some embarrassing information, or they have put some false information which you don't want to have there. So the integrity of that particular information or data is compromised, right? So this concept will be called as integrity. Now, the next important concept is having the data available. So let's say you have created a website, right, for your business or for your personal thing. Uh, and that information that you want to give to the whole world is not available, right? You try to go to that website, and nothing is there, right? And let's say you're working in an organization, and you have created you have a database server which has all the customer information. But the people, let's say your sales employees or your other employees, require that information, but that is not available, right? You're not able to get to that information. So or on a more of a personal level, your computer gets encrypted with some kind of a ransomware. Now what is happening? Your availability of that data is compromised, right? So these are the key concepts where you are actually you need to focus on to make sure that the data that you are protecting is protected. So the combination of these three is called the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And these are the three pillars on which your whole information security, cyber security, you call it by any terms, will stand on. Right. So it's a good time to make available the information about the network program. So Ram, will you be taking over? Yeah.
Sure, sure. Thanks, Anup. Thank you, guys. So I will just take 5 minutes because we don't have much time. I'll just brief you about the Antwerp experiential program, and post that Anup you know will continue with this master class. Like, Anup, can you go to the next slide, please?
Hello, Anup. Hello, Anup.
Yeah.
So please, can you explain me? So what is the
Shurab,
semantic or semantic routing?
excuse me, Shurab, probably will take the questions at the end of the session, please.
Yeah.
Right. So, guys, we have Anup, are you there? Wait, let me share my screen then. Yeah. Here. So we have Antwerp has launched master class, a boot camp in cybersecurity, which is 16 weeks long, and so yes. So this is a 16-week long program, right? Which is basically a weekend program, right? Where we have two classes on Sunday and one class is on Saturday, right? In this program, actually, what we have done is we have divided the whole cybersecurity into 10 competency islands, right? And so let's say one competency island is around this network security, one maybe around the forensic, one around the web application security, and we have bought experts, right, who are master in those domains. So when we talk about the network security, we have the network security expert who is Anup. Similarly, when we talk about the web application security, we will have somebody who has a domain expertise in web application security to take that course, right? So that's how we have decided, divided the whole curriculum, and this curriculum has been decided, after long discussion with industry experts, people who are hiring, to understand what are the needs of the industry, because as what we understand is that when we think about the cybersecurity, everything that comes in our mind is about hacking, right? But the cybersecurity job is not all about hacking, but it's also more about the protecting, right? And that requires very different kind of skill set. So the way we have designed this course is such that all the competency which are required for you to do your job better in cybersecurity domains are covered. Right. So we have 10 plus renowned experts who are going to take this course. Right. And so in our course, we are not only dealing with the theoretical discussions, which are in themselves very important to get yourself the first job in cybersecurity, but we'll be having the detailed projects also, right? And these projects are such that they give you exposure to tools that are being used by the cybersecurity professionals when you go and join a job, right? So they can either be your network security tools, right, or it can be something like SIM tools also, and probably we also deal a little bit with the identity and access management, right? So you will be getting access and exposure to a lot of tools through these projects that you're going to do, and it will also help you learn better, right? Uh, so right, so I will just give you some idea about how, what we are doing in this program, right? So this is the breakup of our program, right? Where we'll be starting with the network security, which will be taken by Anusar himself, right? So whatever you are learning in this master class, our network security class will start, right from there where we are going to end here. Right. Then we'll learn something about the cyber attacks. We have, here you'll be learning more about the cyber kill chain, how it can be used to analyze a cyber attack so that you are well prepared for your interviews as well as be prepared for any other cyber attacks in the future. The another most important part will be the application security. So this will be taken by a consulting CTO of a company, Jagdish Prasad, who is very acclaimed professional, more than 25 years of work experience. Right, and then we will be moving on to incident management, which is again very important, for getting a job in a SOC, right? Which is kind of the major recruiter in India right now in cybersecurity. So you need to have good understanding of incident management to work as a SOC analyst, right? Then we'll move to physical forensic, GRC, right? Some part of identity and access management. And then very important thing that we're introducing is also about the cloud security, right? Because we as a economy as a whole is moving from on-prem to cloud, right? So that's why the cybersecurity also has to move on to cloud, right? So we'll be also adding very important competency of cloud security in this course. Right. So this is the whole idea about our program, and in this program, we are not only going to touch upon the core and basic concepts of cybersecurity, but we will also spend some time in improving your soft skills. Right. Either it is the interview preparation, communication abilities, presentations. Because as a cybersecurity professional, again, whenever the moment you are going to join a job, you will be required to do a lot of presentation, write a lot of report writing, right? You have to negotiate your salaries also, right? So all those soft skills also will be covered in our program, and we have kept almost 7 to 8 classes as well as few projects just to make sure that you are at par in your soft skills, and that will not only help you to get your first job by cracking interviews, but it will try to make sure that you progress in your career very well. So this is the whole idea about the program. I have shared a link about the program on the chat box. Right, please register over there. Somebody, counselor from our side will reach out to you, and they will guide you much more about your program. And plus, if you also have some more details about the cybersecurity professional uh, skills, career, they will be also able to help you out. So guys, please take this opportunity, register yourself in that link, and we will reach out to you. Right. Uh, Anup sir, probably you can get back to your discussion.
Yeah. Can you make me
I'll
the host again?
yes.
I
I am stopping. Yep. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, can you make me the host?
Oh, you have okay. Please give me a moment. Your host, sir.
All right. Okay. So let's talk what is, network security means, right? That's where we are going to focus on, right? So for me, or in a general idea, is network security means two words, right? Problem solving, right? It's you're going to be presented with a problem and you need to solve it. Okay, so what is the problem that is going to be put in front of you? How to achieve the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of all the data that is important to a company, right? And that's where they're going to pay you for, right? It's going to be all about this when you're working in the network security, right? Problem number two is solve problem number one, right? It's basically is going to revolve everything around it. All your technology, all your networks, and everything is going to be revolving about this. Now, why it is that? So there are two memes that you can say about information security that you find on the internet. One is there are only two types of companies: those who have been compromised and those who don't know. Or the other way of looking at it is there are two kind of companies: those have been hacked and those would be. The other thing is you can see that the companies like Facebook, Microsoft, Google spend billions of dollars on making their networks, their application, and everything secure. And what happens, we in the internet, we if you search for any security breach, or if you are just reading the news about it, you will see that after spending millions of dollars and putting in a lot of smart people in charge of things, still these breaches happen. And that's where this continuous process of having an upskilled people in this industry would help. uh, Today, open today's paper and you'll find at least one news, not on the papers that we get, but if you are reading the papers on the internet, or you are following any technological trends, you'll see that there is some kind of a breach that is happening. Now, some of the breaches are like not that important to us. Some breach in some foreign country is not important to us. But how about your Aadhaar data, or your personal data that has been hacked, supposedly hacked in last few days, and you'll start to see news about that. Now that's a worrying thing, right? So for companies, that's where they lose their sleep over, and that's where they hire people like us, people like you, where they are going to help us manage and solve the problems that we're talking about. All right. So coming to the few of the security breaches that have made the news recently. One of them is this particular breach called Sunburst. Now, security professionals try to give fun names to different security events, so that those will be remembered, and they are fun to talk about as well. But this is a serious security breach that happened in last year, in a few years back, a few months back. Now, what this particular different about this particular breach was, it used a software which is used widely in the industry. Now, there is a company called SolarWinds which creates this software called Orion, which is basically is used for monitoring the infrastructure, as well as a management platform for large and small companies. They have the on-premise model, there is a hybrid model, and also offer software as a service. And you can have all the elements in your network can be monitored using this particular platform. Now, what these attackers did is they compromised the update mechanism of this software. As you are using a cell phone, you may see that you click on updates to make sure that you have the latest version of that particular application. Now, what they did is we for mobile phones, we use the App Store or Google, but for these other companies, they have their own update servers, right? So these update servers are basically cloud based, and they are or some of them are cloud based, some of them are on premise. So these attackers actually went in, and instead of compromising attacking different targets all over the world, they found out that there is a problem in the update mechanism, and they compromised this particular mechanism, and then they modified one of the DLL files, which is kind of a important file in the world of software, and they modified it as a Trojan horse. A Trojan is basically a piece of code or piece of software that gets installed on a computer, and then it opens up a lot of doors for the hackers to come in, or the attackers to come in. Now, what did is as the update mechanism itself was compromised, the companies who have bought this or paid for this particular software have have downloaded it unknowingly, because they thought that, yeah, this is a regular update. And then that particular Trojan was designed in a way that it collected the important information about that particular system, and then it was sending it to the owner of that particular malware, that's the attacker. And then it also downloaded some additional remote access tools and remote access codes, which were which were used to take the next stage. The next stage was deploying a malware, or it's called a teardrop. It's kind of a malware as a service, and where it was deployed to only on the selective targets. They did not deploy it on a small shops, and they did not deploy it on with us, which were are not very high value target. And the fourth stage is still kind of unknown what they did with that data. Did they take out the data, what type of data they were able to get their hands on, and what they did with it. Now, why this was important? Like we say that data breaches happen all the time, all right? If you search for data breach, you will see hundreds of results. Why this particular one made news? It was because of the targets. The targets were the US government departments, uh, companies like Cisco, companies like SAP, Intel, Deloitte. These companies are major players in the industry, and they hold a lot of data. And it's quite unknown how this particular breach is going to pan out. Once they find out what type of data was breached, they are not, see, US government is not going to say that this particular data has been breached. But that's why the question mark is there, what actually they did with this data. All right, the next type of threat that comes in is that attacks your availability is WannaCry, or ransomware. So WannaCry was one of the most famous examples that happened about ransomware. Now, ransomware has been around for a long time. It is basically holding someone's data at ransom, and unless they pay something, they're not going to release that particular data. Uh, so this particular ransomware, why it became famous? It became famous because of the impact. There are a lot of computers, a lot of people who were infected. Big companies had to shut down their entire networks, entire operations to get rid of this particular ransomware. And if you see this, when this came out, the people started to hire more and more security professionals to manage these data. Now, many of the examples, if you read about this particular uh, ransomware, it did something different, which was it acted like a computer worm, and it replicated over multiple computers, and it made it very hard to remove. I'll say why it made hard to remove. Let's say you get a ransomware, and if you are an administrator or you have faced this kind of a problem, what do? You can't pay this much amount of money, right? So you if you have a backup, you restore your backup, and you maybe format your system, reinstall the operating system. That's good, right? But let's say this this particular ransomware was jumping from one computer to another. So if I clean up one machine and then leave it on, some other machine which was infected will again infect this particular machine. So I had to do all these tasks manually. I had to shut down all the networks, or at least put in protection where these two computers are not able to talk to each other, and then do the cleanup. Now that's where a lot of manpower was required, a lot of smart thinking was required, and that's where the security industry started to take this kind of threat more seriously. And to be honest, this is something that is can't be never be completely removed, and it's going to keep on going. All right, so I think it's a good time to have another poll here, or let's talk about one concept and then we'll do the poll. All right, let's do the poll first then. All right,
Sorry,
so
I have logged it
as
already. Yep.
that's fine. Okay, so all right, so this is about a recent attack.
Great. We have a knowledgeable
Yes.
cloud here, Anup.
Yes, 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 definitely. So yes, it was a ransomware attack, and it actually affected not just that particular company, not just the government which was responsible. It also affected the people, because the supply of uh, petrol or gas, as they call it in US, was affected because of this, right? So ransomwares are real and they are here to stay. All right. So one of the concepts that we wanted to talk about is like, how do we really protect against them, right? They are um, how actually we go about protecting things. So we use a concept of defense in depth, where we are going to make it uh, very hard for the attacker or the hacker, or whatever you want to call him or her, and you want to make life harder to get to the data, or get to the objectives they are going after, right? So for that, what we do is we use multiple types of controls. One is a physical control that you can think about as fences, guard dogs, CCTV, where you are physically trying to limit the attack on your limit access to your IT systems, and you want to prevent them. So the next type of control is a technical control, where you are going to use a software or a hardware to protect this particular data, right? Examples are using disk encryption, using firewall, using antivirus, using all sort of authorization and accounting softwares. Uh, the other control is the administrative controls, where you are actually hiring the right people, doing due diligence. You are putting a data handling process. You have a process for having an incidents, and like incidents management. If something happens, what you're going to do. So I would be focusing more on the technical control in network security. Right. Okay, so this is what network as a network engineer you're going to protect, right? This is going to be like a typical network setup for any organization. They're going to have some bunch of servers. They're going to have a branch office. They're going to have different type of workstations. Maybe they have Linux, may have Windows. They may have portable PCs, which we call laptops. They may have a different type of mobile devices. They also may have some cloud entities for web computing. Uh, and there will be users who are connecting over the internet. Now, what happened is, like, for this particular setup, network engineers were trained. They had a pretty good idea of how to mitigate a lot of threats in this particular setup, right? They knew the control points. You need to limit the access to servers. You need to give access to on need to know basis. You want to do regular backups and a whole sort of things. Companies invested a whole lot of it, right? And then last year, this happened, right? Everyone, the focus from the internal networks and internal computers shifted to all to the remote computers. Now we had infrastructure in place for remote computers, right? We had VPNs, we had other technologies that people will connect from their home to the company's network, and they can have limited access onto that. Now if you shift, that percentage was always lower, right? To be honest, before the pandemic, the percentage was not even 1%, right? There were companies who were 100% remote, but the number of those companies was very less. And for larger companies also, you need to go through a lot of process to get a VPN access, or connect to the internet from your home, connect to your internal network from home. But with the shift, 99% of the people started to working from home. Now, all the security professionals had to reshift their focus and make this change and come into their own to find innovative ways to secure the networks coming overcoming this particular problem. So that's where the limited knowledge and have not having exposure to a lot of things in cybersecurity comes into play, right? You may be a professional who is working currently in one of the domains, and maybe you are just managing one of the softwares, but that's not going to be enough as a career, because the dynamics of this particular industry keep on changing, right? Okay, so last point we are going to talk about is Wireshark. Wireshark is one of the favorite tools of network engineers. It's basically a packet analyzer, which you can download it from free on the internet. It's open source. You don't have to pay any fees to get that. You can troubleshoot almost all the issues. I'll say more than 80% of the issues just by looking at a packet capture onto a network. What's going on? It can range from slowness in your internet or just nothing is connecting. Okay. So the data, what it captures is on the wire, on the live connection. So where you're reading a file or you're going to the internet site and it has been captured. Uh, Right. So the other element that it's cross-platform. You can have it running on multiple operating systems, and the data remains same as we are just talking about the protocol. So it's a packet analyzer, a protocol analyzer. You can call. You can actually refine what you are actually looking for. So if you have worked on a Wireshark before, you see there is a lot of data, right? Everything that the computer talks to on any network is going to be captured. So you can actually refine this data and make sense of it, right? There are a lot of settings in this particular tool, which will help you troubleshoot a different variety of issues, I'll say. All right, so last thing. This is a common network setup in today's age. There are going to be a lot of devices, lot of different technologies that you will need to understand. Uh, you will need to know a lot about these things to make sure that you are compatible and you're ahead of the game where people are trying to attack your systems. Now, what is important if you want to work in network security, you need to have the skills to solve the security problems of all these elements. As I said, cybersecurity or network security is all about problem solving, right? So this is where your skills would come into play. This is where how you are able to solve the problems which will be in front of you. So let's say your boss calls you and tells you that yeah, we need to this, but this they are just going to come with a problem, right? And they're not going to they will be expecting you to provide the solution. Now, for having that solution, you need to have the knowledge, right? Else you'll implement some wrong solution, and then you will become a statistic that we did in poll number 1, where we are saying that user is the weakest link in the cybersecurity. All right. So with this, actually, my content that I wanted to uh,
Great.
share, so we can take few questions. We have few minutes.
Yes, so
So
Anup, probably we will excuse 2 or 3 questions. We just have 5, 6 more minutes. Right. So
Mhm,
one question has come, which is
mhm.
more about how do we understand about network pen testing and network security, and can you tell us how these two profiles work? And also a question from my side is which profile is more in demand from job perspective?
Okay, so see, penetration testing has become came into its own in last few years, and one of the reasons for including the SolarWinds attack, right, which was more about penetration testing. Right, so this particular company may had their own penetration testing mechanism in place, right? But there was some what you say, a gap in that. So they did not find that their own servers can be vulnerable for these kind of attacks. Now a penetration tester is basically when you get an authority from someone hires you or contracts you to try to break into a system. In a layman's term, I lock my door, right, and I pay you to come in and try to get into my house, right? Simple as that, right? So you're not a thief, but you are an expert who knows how to unlock the locks and maybe try to lower me out, and then enter my house, right? So you have a wide range of techniques. Your mind is the key here, and you're going to try to find innovative ways to get around the security. So think of a penetration tester as a person who tries to navigate all the security processes and products which are in place, and still try to gain access.
So Anup, we have just received one more question, which is very interesting, right? Is it worth studying cybersecurity masters in India or abroad? And will I get a job in India if I were to study abroad? I think Anup, this is a question which has been asked multiple times about
Mhm.
masters in cybersecurity, right? Just can you put some light on it?
Yes, see, you can definitely go for masters, right? You will gain a lot of in-depth knowledge, right? But it will again depend upon the person to person. Now, what my philosophy is, right? It's let's say it goes for the same as certificates. People will also have a lot of questions about certifications in cybersecurity as well, right? So, which certification we should do, and what is the most worth certificate, right? My philosophy is this, right? You first get into the industry. You take the basic knowledge. You learn about the requirements which are out there. You get into the industry, right? You learn those skills, you get into the industry, you earn some money out of it, right? Earn some knowledge out of it. Think what is going on in the industry right now, right? And maybe with the monetary gains that you get from that particular job, right? Then take that particular what do you say, monetary benefits, and then use that to pursue certifications as well as masters. And you can definitely do it in India, right? We are actually going as we are increasing our understanding of cybersecurity, and we are putting a lot of things in our digital world, right? In India itself, right? So we 10 years ago, if you ask me that we are going to have a session over an internet where 100 people are going to join and talk about cybersecurity, it would have been a dream, right? But now we have people interested in it. So as people are getting interested, policies are getting made, people are making different cybersecurity courses, and universities are also starting to offer. Multiple universities have their master's program, and abroad it's always it's an attraction. But to be honest, see, we live in an age of internet. Everyone has the knowledge if you look for it, right?
Guys, just to
Okay.
add, at Antrock also we are providing, a basic cybersecurity training, and not only that, we are also providing the 100% placement assistance. Means we are talking to a lot of people, a lot of companies which hire the freshers in cybersecurity as well as people with some work experience, right? So as Anup sir was telling, it's a knowledge that is more important to begin your journey. Then you earn some money and reinvest into your career to gain higher certification, because higher certifications will give you much more confidence as well as the employer's confidence that you know these technologies really well to work deeper into it, right? So Anup sir, probably will take just one more question, that is the final questions, right? Which has been asked very early in the this
Mhm.
masterclass, was how to mitigate DDoS attacks other than configuring firewall. And sorry guys, this is going to be last questions. We don't have much time. Please go ahead, sir.
Yes. So, see, again, it comes to your defense in depth, right? So, what is DDoS attack? So, basically, you are attacking one entity, right, from multiple sources, and making it, you're attacking its availability, right? So, what you can do in that case, right? So you can configure firewall definitely, right? But how about having a redundancy, right? You have an availability cluster where you can actually even if one of those breaking points is attacked, you have a redundancy where you can directly start working from the next cluster, right? So it's not going to be like a straight thing that you can do, but you can do multiple things to think about this attack, right? So if someone is attacking one availability point, you should be able to have another availability point where you can start serving uh, the service that you want to uh, serve, and the person who is trying to deny it, right? So yeah, from firewall you can definitely have load balancing in place. You can have availability clusters in place so that you will not be having that problem. Okay, so Ram, there are some questions about certification. Let's answer those, right? Because people always have
Yeah.
questions about those, right? Yeah. So entry level certificate in network security. See, I feel that certification is something that you do after a bit of a knowledge. Because see, if I do a certificate, right, and then I stand in an interview, and if a person is asking me some kind of a practical questions, right? Then you're not able to answer those questions, right? So I'll say that you take the certifications after, once you have some kind of an exposure to cybersecurity. The entry level certificates, you can say, if you really want to go for that, is one of those that I did is Security Plus. It's vendor agnostic. That means that you don't have to worry about a certain vendor that keep on changing their products. It's more about the concepts. The concepts will get clear, and then you will be able to answer those questions. If you are going in like a cloud, all the three major providers have their own basic certifications in security. You can go for that if it's something that is interests you, right? Right. So one follow-up question about the DDoS is how IPS. So IPS is actually signature based. So what it does is uh, you can actually write signatures based on the known attacks, right? Let's say I'm doing a DDoS attack using one of the flags in TCP stack, right? So I will write a code in IPS where I'll say that if I get so many requests from about only this particular flag, then I will just block it, right? So that's your intrusion prevention, right? So it's a rule based, it's knowledge based. You need to be having a bit of a knowledge about writing that particular writing that IPS signature. Last question: engineer having experience of how she can fit the cybersecurity role, and how can use the previous. So having 12 years of experience is obviously a great thing, right? Think of those experiences terms that you have experienced, and think of them in a security manner, right? So for example, you are a system admin, right? So think of that job, right? Maybe you can just open your old CV and see what all things you are doing at that particular job. Now just implement all the security elements about the confidentiality, integrity, and availability to what you are doing, right? And that's how you can collate that particular experience and build on that to get into a security role. No, scripting knowledge is not required.
Anup,
It's good to
probably we'll
have,
have to cut
right?
short the session. We'll
Yes,
have
yes, yes.
another
I
session.
don't know. Yes,
Guys, please reach out to our educational counselors. They will also be able to help you out. Right. Plus, we will keep on having this master sessions in future also. Right. So these are some
sure.
questions which will be answered in the future master class. I'm very, very sorry that we will have to close down the session here. But, it was getting very, very engaging. Very,
Yes,
very
yes.
sorry for that, Anup, as well as
No problem, no
our
problem. You can
participants.
reach out to people at work, and they will answer all these questions, because see, we are here in the business of sharing knowledge, right? And
Yes.
question is the way to gain knowledge, right? Thank
Yes.
you, everyone. Thanks for your time on this weekend. Thanks, Ram, for facilitating this, and you have
Sure.
a rest of the weekend have a
Sure.
awesome rest of the weekend. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Yep. Have a nice weekend, everybody. Please reach out to us. We have shared the link for our so that somebody can reach out to you. Hope to see you again in the future masterclass as well as in our boot camp. Right. Bye bye.
Thank you.